In this section, we'll look at what happens in a typical control room when an emergency call comes in, and then at how the fire and rescue service responds to that emergency, what should happen at the scene, and the role the veterinary surgeon plays. At Hampshire Fire and Rescue Service headquarters, control operator Kim Bennett is about to take a call from a member of the public whose horse box has been involved in a road traffic collision.
Fire and rescue, what's the address of the incident?
I'm on the M27, my horse box has been involved in an accident.
Okay, whereabouts on the M27 are you?
I'm really not sure. I'm coming back from the Ringwood.
Okay, on the side of the road there should be a marker post number. Can you give that to me, please?
Yeah, it's got a 2 and 8 on it.
028, okay. Okay, that tells us exactly where you are. So you're eastbound, just past junction 1. Right, okay, and what was the problem?
Well, my horse is in the horse box. It's been hit by another car from behind. Right, okay, if you could just stay away from the horse. Well, it's really,
Right.
really...
I have mobilised and we are on our way to you. I just have a couple of questions to ask you. Can you give me the details of the animal?
It's a hunter. And he's 16 hands.
16 hands. Okay, and what are the injuries?
I don't know. He's discussing later.
No, if you stay away from the horse, we will be along there shortly. I have mobilised, so we are on our way to you. Can you just tell me, are there any humans injured or trapped by the animals? We have mobilised an animal rescue specialist. He's en route to you, so we will be with you shortly. Do you have a mobile telephone number, so in case he wants to ring you in advance? Yeah. 053. Have you managed to call a vet?
No, I'm literally, I'm miles from home. I can't, my vet won't be able to come out.
Okay, so you're not able to call one. Don't worry, we'll call one on your behalf.
Having established the caller's location and the nature of the incident, Kim consults the Beaver Directory of Equine Veterinary Practices. The directory includes postcodes to help her identify the closest practice to the scene. We'll now look at an example of a fire and rescue service incident command system and suggested processes for dealing with the scene of an emergency.
A key element to a successful rescue is command and control of the incident. The Fire and Rescue Service has a system called the Incident Command System. When working with other agencies, we need to make sure that they're trained so that they understand how they fit into the command structure. Generally, the first people on the scene from the rescue services will be the local fire service. The incident commander will determine the immediate area of risk and create an inner and an outer cordon. Anyone entering the inner cordon should have the appropriate personal protective equipment and be part of the strategy for rescuing the animal. The outer cordon will be used for keeping our equipment and to prevent members of the public from becoming injured. Once the scene has been stabilised by the oncoming crews, the animal rescue team will have had a chance to arrive and set up their equipment in the outer cordon. Next on scene will be the animal rescue specialist officer. The command team is then completed with the attendance of an equine vet. So we have a safe scene, we have risk areas in place, safety officers and dedicated specialist rescue teams in order to carry out the rescue. Despite the development of new equipment and procedures for animal rescue, each one is different and therefore we gain valuable experience from every situation that we deal with. It's really important after a rescue to have a debrief with the crews and other agencies prior to everyone leaving the scene. This enables people to talk about their experiences during the rescue, what they thought worked well, what they thought didn't work so well, and how we could improve for the future. All this is done while it's still fresh in our minds. It's only by evaluating our actions that we can improve and be better equipped for the future.
The scene of an animal rescue can be emotionally charged, with horse owners often becoming upset and anxious, as Paul Jepson explains.
Looking after horses takes a great amount of commitment, and the sort of people who are prepared to put in this commitment and look after their horses properly form an enormous emotional attachment with them. And when things go wrong with the horse, they also get emotionally very disturbed.
Unfortunately, these negative, fearful emotions are likely to transfer to the horse, causing them to panic, often with disastrous consequences. Distressed owners often urge vets and firefighters to just get on and do something. And amongst all that high drama, you might feel under pressure to dive in and help, rather than stepping back to assess how best to control the scene, which might involve removing members of the public to a place of safety away from the horse. Hampshire Fire and Rescue Service have 3 golden rules for horse rescue. Number 1. Don't attempt to rescue a horse without first applying head restraint. Put a head collar on the animal before you do anything else. Number 2. Never release a horse or any animal unless you have somewhere safe for it to go. For example, if it's in a horse box on the hard shoulder, keep it there until another vehicle arrives. And number 3. Never allow yourself to get into a situation where you can be cornered or trapped by a horse. Plan your exit route. Always have a safe means of escape. As Josh Slater explained earlier, vets have never been formally trained in equine rescue. It's not something covered in the vet school curriculum.
Something Beaver felt was critical to making rescue safer for all involved was training for vets. It's important that vets are called to incidents, but it's also important that they know what to do when they get there. We rolled out our first courses, which were oversubscribed, in rescue and emergency training for equine vets in 2008, and I think it's a mark of how seriously vets are taking the issue of safety in rescue situations that we're increasing the number of courses we run in 2009 and also providing training for final year veterinary students. These are actually the first practical rescue training courses for vets anywhere in Europe, and we really hope this initiative will be picked up by other countries.
Beaver's rescue and emergency training courses are run in partnership with the animal rescue specialists at Hampshire Fire and Rescue Service. The courses provide an overview of how the Fire and Rescue Service operate at emergencies involving large animals, which helps vets to better understand their role at a rescue. The course covers emergency medicine, first aid, and the use of sedation and anesthesia in an emergency situation. Vets also learn basic manual handling rescue techniques. You'll see some of these in action in the next chapter. But first, animal rescue specialist Anton Phillips and equine vet Ben Mays discuss why it's so important for vets and the Fire and Rescue Service to understand each other's roles.
Anton, I always thought I was a relatively experienced equine vet, and I've just done those training techniques, extraordinary techniques developed by the fire service for animal rescue. The role of the vet, I always thought was relatively simple. We'd be brought up to think of welfare and looking after the animal, but a rescue is far more complex than that.
We have to deal with the whole scene. We have to deal with the humans first, and then the animal second in that order. We obviously we take command and control of the entire scene, including yours as well. We look after your health and safety, so that when you come on scene, you form part of the command team, which helps us run a successful incident.
Exactly. I mean, we've always thought of this scary owner running in to interject and assist their animal in getting injured. Vets are pretty good at that too, and it's interesting with the incident command officer, the safety of the humans involved is paramount.
It is absolutely paramount. But once we've achieved that health and safety, or the safe scene, we can then set up a safe scene for you to work, for us to work, and for us to work together as a team to give you a viable animal to work with at the end of the day. You have provided that safe environment for the rescuers. Once that safe environment is achieved, then we can then proceed to rescue that animal in the most appropriate way, in which we will discuss this and make sure that we do rescue it in the most appropriate way, so that we don't do any further damage to that animal once it's rescued.
Exactly. The sedation, I mean, calms the animal down, facilitates the rescue all round. You haven't got those limbs flashing around, splashing around. You haven't got the head knocking people out. The animal's much calmer. You guys can get on with the rescue. The safety officers keeping an eye on everything, and it seems to work much smoother.
It's better for us, it's better for you, and it's better for the horse.